Hi, my name is Subbu Iyer, CEO at Aerospike. Today, I want to talk to you about AI and real-time decision-making. Companies of all sizes are using real-time data and AI-based decision-making to massively improve efficiency, transform customer experiences, differentiate competitively, and increase revenue. They do this by bringing intelligent, thoughtful decision-making to the edge, where it can be performed instantaneously and continuously. Today, you will make 35,000 decisions. This is what psychologists believe, and it's about one decision every 2 seconds. Now, they're not all the same decisions. They include small decisions that we are constantly making. What we'll say, how we'll say it, where we'll look. And every now and then, we make really big decisions. But these decisions are hard. They're thoughtful, and they take a lot of consideration. Imagine making this particular decision 35,000 times every day. You'd be completely overwhelmed. And so it's really part of the human experience and something that we are used to, that we make low impact decisions using less data points, and they're more impulsive. And every now and then, we know we are making a high impact decision, and so we bring in more data points and we are more thoughtful about it. But with AI, and as AI gets faster, we're actually not bound by these limitations in theory. Increasingly, we are no longer forced to choose between being really thoughtful and being really fast. AI, combined with real-time data and real-time decision-making, has this unique ability to do both. And so today, what I want to talk to you about is how the world's greatest brands are making complex decisions informed by AI faster than anyone ever thought possible with the Aerospike real-time data platform. But before we talk about this, let's talk a little bit about the history of technology and technology aiding us in decision-making. Let's roll the clock back a little bit. If we go back to the 50s, it was the first time we saw digital technology come into businesses. And companies like IBM were able to use computers, like the UNIVAC, for example, to ensure that every month we had very accurate accounting information. And what this meant was that rather than lots of human-powered reconciliation on a month-to-month basis, we would be able to drive our business to make the investment decisions and know that they were accurate and see the results of them immediately. Then we move into personal computing era. I'm obviously skipping over a few things here, but at this point, we have wonderful things like spreadsheets. We get floppy disk drives that we can walk around to each other's desks, and we get email. And that loop starts to shorten, and all of a sudden, we are able to really start making business decisions on as little as a weekly basis. So we go from sort of annually, monthly, quarterly, to quarterly, monthly, weekly. And then the internet rolls around, and then all of a sudden, we have data that we are able to collect that's nearly live, that enables us to make decisions about our businesses on a day-to-day basis. So on a day-to-day basis, we can do things like change the keywords that we're buying on our search terms, or change the ads or the headlines that we are running on our websites. So you can see that there's a progression. There's clearly a progression from annualized to daily. And this is all just the result of better access to information and being able to make these decisions much, much faster. But the thing that really limits us eventually is nothing to do with technology. It's that these are human timescales. So what do I mean by that? So the thing that ultimately blocks us, the ultimate bottleneck, is that our brains are in the loop. It's technology giving us all the information, but it's us that's making the decisions. And that makes it very hard to get to less than, say, a daily basis. We've reached a point where the decision-making is not bound by the technology. It is bound by human timescales. To give you a sense of how large our timescales are, it actually takes about 20 milliseconds for us to use electricity just for the basis of thought to traverse a synapse in our brain. And meanwhile, in about the same time, you take a look at Comcast, which serves billions of ads per day. And Comcast serves some of the largest media properties around the globe. And Comcast's platform processes data from over 100 million online destinations and generates trillions of online signals. So in the case of Comcast, for example, this is how it works at a very high level. Really good web pages load in 2 seconds or less. However, the ads on those pages load in less than 200 milliseconds, which is literally the duration it takes for a human eye to blink. Within that time envelope, a lot of things are happening. There's an auction for your eyeball to determine which ad gets placed for you, an individual viewer, out of the hundreds of millions of possible eyeballs. And you have milliseconds to place a bid, 50 milliseconds to be precise. Quantcast does this by using several AI ML techniques and real-time data from millions of online destinations. And it is doing this billions of times every day. Yes, billions of times every day. PayPal is another example, amazing example actually, of a company that uses real-time AI-based decisioning for fraud detection. In the first quarter of 2024, PayPal processed around 6.5 billion transactions. In the case of fraud detection, more data leads to a better likelihood of finding malicious activity. PayPal uses a two-sided network with buyers and merchants who are sending each other transactions. They encode this network as a graph with buyers and sellers modeled as vertices in the graph. The real-time graph platform returns graph query results very quickly or in sub-seconds. The return query results are used in machine learning models for immediate fraud prevention. So, for example, if a malicious actor tries to create a new PayPal account after getting banned, the real-time graph platform can help identify that user and block his or her account right after he or she creates it. So how is this possible? How is any of this possible? Well, it's made possible with the real-time data, and specifically by the Aerospike real-time data platform, which is ingesting millions of data points and millions of writes per second. And the decision-making pipelines are reading at millions of reads per second from the same data platform simultaneously. The reads or queries can vary between tens of thousands to millions per second. And this is what we mean when we say real-time data. It's the ability to provide the data required to make these decisions within these very tight time envelopes and do it incredibly consistently. And what we mean by consistently is that we mean 99% of the time, these decisions are happening in less than 1 millisecond. The Aerospike real-time data platform runs on every cloud, is multi-model, and you get the same predictable performance whether you use key value, graph, documents, or vector. This lets you imagine the types of AI models you can build into those pipelines. And that's why the world's greatest companies of every size and across verticals, the world's fastest moving, most demanding, build their AI-based real-time decisioning on Aerospike. So what comes next? Firstly, there's a strong desire to unlock enterprise data with AI apps. This is already happening. We know that enterprises want to ensure that they can maintain their corporate data for privacy and competitive reasons. And we're already seeing the usage of retrieval augmented generation, or RAG-based AI apps as a common model to do this. RAG allows the usage of enterprise data to provide context to the large and small language models, resulting in better quality of AI-based decisions. If you're interested in learning more about how customers are doing this with Aerospike, You can scan the barcode and watch this webinar for more information. Also, Tamar from Glean will be presenting shortly on this very topic. Next, we see richer AI apps being built with multi-model capabilities. As you can see in this graphic from a real-time AI-based application, you can build a very powerful application leveraging key value, vector, and graph within the same application, all from a single Aerospike database, which supports these multiple data models and gets the same predictable real-time performance, low latency, and high availability. If you're interested in learning more on how to build these richer AI apps, Art will be presenting in the summit on this topic. And finally, we see the adoption of continuous learning. Currently, as we know, the models are trained offline. A lot of customers train them once a day, and some do it multiple times a day. However, to get to the most up-to-date information and make the most accurate real-time context-rich decisions, we see the adoption of continuous learning as a necessary step. So in order to do so, you need to rethink your AI infrastructure. You need a real-time data platform that is optimized for high-performance mixed workloads, a platform that can ingest millions of transactions per second from a variety of data sources, persist them, and simultaneously serve millions of queries per second. Aerospike was built for the demanding needs of AI applications. Again, if you're interested in learning more about continuous learning, please attend Yasmin's session on continuous real-time intelligence. So if you were to summarize what comes next, we see enterprises already using RAG to unlock enterprise data within AI applications. We see the emergence of new class of richer AI applications powered by multi-model capabilities, and it is necessary to adopt continuous learning to drive the most accurate, real-time, context-rich decisions. Thanks for joining me today, and enjoy the rest of the Real-Time Data Summit. Thank you.